Greetings to the listeners, to the watchers of Tour Front. My name is Jay, and I say hello in the name of Mamelodi Sundowns, top of their group in the Champions League, having done the double over Al Ahly. Baraska Figilapo. What's up, Chuck?
What's up, Jay? You and your Sundowns people, viewers, listeners. Let's
All
get into the
seven
show.
of us. But it's fine.
All right, let's start off in the Champions League. PSG bombed out at the hands of Real Madrid. Now, the question is, Jay, where does this rank in terms of the bottle jobs that we've seen PSG capitulate at or to the jobs that they've done to themselves? When we look at the remontada, we look at the game against Man United. When you look at this particular squad, with Messi, with Neymar, with Mbappe, with Verratti, who's arguably one of the best defenders currently, with Donnarumma, who's the best in between the sticks, for this team to, in fact, with let's add the first leg performance as well, with this team that's stacked to the teeth with talent, who had a very good game in the first leg, for them to throw it away in a span of 17 minutes, where does this rank in terms of all their bottle jobs that they've had of late? Is this potentially like the worst of them all?
It's up there. It's up there with the other two that you mentioned. Where it fits up there, I don't know if anything in football, for that matter, goes above the remontada. That is just the bottle job to end all bottle jobs, particularly because of how that game went and how those goals were scored. It wasn't necessarily Barcelona playing through PSG and in their absolute brilliance. But similarly here, when you consider the fact that PSG come into the second leg and they go a goal up, and they then in the tie are 2-0 up with half an hour remaining of the game to go, you should be able to ice that game. And I know that the opponent is Real Madrid. I know the history. I know the history that Real Madrid have in this competition, 13 times champion. But even in their most recent history, when they had Cristiano Ronaldo, who you come into a knockout round against Real Madrid, you know whether if you guys take a lead and you go back to the Bernabeu, number 7 is going to put the team on his back, score a hat-trick, and they're going to move forward. This is not that team. This is the same team that, coming off of a semi-final appearance last season, I was saying it was hard to even say how they got to that stage. And they were, in my opinion, quite frankly, embarrassed by Chelsea in those semi-finals. Scoreline didn't suggest that it was close, but in terms of performance, Chelsea were far and away the better team against Real Madrid. And not much has changed into this season with the team that PSG were then facing. So to be 2-0 up and to then allow that hat-trick from Benzema and to crash out in the fashion that they did with the players that they have, it is a choke job. And because of the fact that, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time is playing on one of those sides, which is PSG, I'm tempted to slot it in between remontada and Manchester United. Although that Manchester United team as well was...
You know what? The thing with
Not very
PSG
good.
is, regardless of who you put in front of them, they will bottle it. Because if you look at the United team, Fred, McTominay, Pereira started that final, Ashley Young, Lukaku and Rashford were basically where you had put all of your hopes on just those two players. And those are the two players that came up trumps against PSG when it mattered. With Barcelona, they had Neymar, they had Messi, they had Sergio Busquets, they had this the Suarez, that the star talent to go against their star talent, which PSG had in Cavani, Di Maria, and players like that. With this Real Madrid side, yes, they had star power, but they're an aging side that are, as you highlighted, not the same as they were when they were going on that three-peat, going on for Abo La Decima and the like under Zidane, under Ancelotti. But Ancelotti's back, and he's brought some of that magic back with him. But in terms of this bottle job, Jay, what surprised me about this game is that the first 15 minutes, it was tit for tat. And then PSG took control of the first half. Mm-hmm. They come into the second half, PSG are still in control of the second half. And you don't even see how Madrid going to come into this game, because they are not putting anything forward in terms of an attacking threat. They're coming here and there, but you're not really worried. You're more worried about the balls over the top that Mbappe keeps running onto. Because, I mean, apart from the offside calls, Madrid should have been buried by Mbappe alone. Right? But what I saw again in that game is that Messi was magic when he got the ball, but he was not looking for it. Neymar was influential with his through balls and passes when he got the ball, but they were not looking for it. For me, it seemed like it was a one-man show. The guy who was hungry, the guy who was switched on, who potentially was an injury doubt, proved that 1, he's healthy, 2, he's hungry, and 3, if you give him a chance, he will slot it away. That guy, for me, was inevitable. It was Mbappe's show up until Benzema was like, hold on, let me show you some. In that 70-minute spell, because before that mistake by Donnarumma, you could not see a way that Boss would come back. That Madrid would come back into the tie. You could not see it. That for me is what makes it one of those bigger puzzle jobs, because there was no way. And when I went to the Montanda,
it's the number one for you.
They're all bad. I don't know where to put it, but
they're all bad.
They're all bad. It's just good to. There was no way for Madrid to come into the game.
Chuck, please stop calling Real Madrid Barcelona.
They're both sides that need to rebuild. Anyway, here's what I'm saying, Jay. Apart from that mistake at Donnarumma, there was nothing. They have that mistake, fine. You've got another goal in your pocket. They don't defend. Benzema comes and punishes. They don't defend. They didn't wake up after that particular moment. And the thing that they keep saying about having those stars, that they're not going to track back. They're not going to give you that extra oomph of effort when it comes to defense. So it was bad. But Montanda, nothing can top that. They consider the 3 goals.
Let me ask you this question, because when you mention the players that Barcelona had, right, what comes to mind is one of the names that you mentioned is Neymar, who now is on the PSG side. This team has Neymar, it has Messi, who were on the other side in Remontada, and they have Kylian Mbappe. They didn't have they had talent for sure, but they did not have these guys. So as a result, when does the talent that they have now, so the question I have to you, the talent that they have now, does that not stack it above what they had when they lost 6-1 to Barcelona? And is this not worse because they have because of the horses they have on their side this go around? Because this Real Madrid team is not that Barcelona team.
That's true.
That PSG team is not this PSG team.
And neither of those are as bad as that Man United team that beat them in Paris.
True.
So, what I will say, and I think this is true, that someone posted on social media that the 3 names that we're going to put up is Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar as the guys who cost PSG. Kimpembe, it's horrible. Marquinhos is doing flicks when they were trying to get back into the game.
Giving assists as well.
Those guys were bad. Those are the guys who actually let the floodgates open and allowed Benzema to punish and capture. I mean, if you look at the time where Modric runs past midfield, right? He plays the ball to Vinicius. Vinicius' control, or rather his directional play, almost had that chance dead and buried. And the ball comes back to Modric. Benzema finds himself in the midst of at least 3 PSG defenders, and the ball slots through all 3 of them, and he finishes that. Where's the defense? Like, fine, Messi's not there, but it's not his position to be in the box. Neymar's not supposed to be in the box. Neither is Mbappe. So if those guys are allowing that when you're already a goal down and the momentum has swung, that's when you stop that. That's when you need someone who's of a proper quality. I don't think that PSG have good enough defenders when you compare to the best in the world. They don't have a Van Dijk. They don't have a Diaz. They don't have maybe Upamecano is not playing now at Bayern, but players who are solid. I mean, Marquinhos was good, but Kimpembe's been suspect. And since that PSG game where he gave away that penalty, if you look at Kimpembe's performance, for me, he does not do the job. So
he does not fill you with confidence.
Not at all. I mean, the guy who did fill me with confidence was Hakimi. The first couple of games, I was like, you've got this game on between him and Vinicius. After 20 minutes, he shut that guy out of the game completely. There was nothing going on, working for Vinicius down that wing. But the other guys, the whole game, I didn't think they were solid enough to say, okay, these guys are going to take us all the way through. But to answer your question, with the talent that they have stacked to the teeth, I think if those guys wanted it enough. I mean, remember the game that we had seen, I think it was PSG, you'll correct my memory, I think against Lyon in the bubble, when Messi was putting on a show. It was against Leipzig, when Messi was Neymar was putting on a show without Mbappe. Mm-hmm. And was just unfortunate not to hit the back of the net. I think he hit the post a couple of times. It was just running the show.
The only thing he did not do in that game was score. And
when in the second leg he had Mbappe there, they finished the job. If we had that Neymar for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes, it's game over. He never showed up. So that for me is where you put the blame on those guys, that you guys have the power to ice the game, as you say. But at the same time, you have to ask questions of those guys at the back. So pound for pound, talent for talent, I think the issue with PSG is that they've got talent, but they haven't quite formed a team yet. And I think that is their detriment. If they formed a team, I think the remontada PSG was more of a team. And that's how they score 4 in Paris and then come to the Camp Nou with that many goals. But this team was still reliant on Mbappe. This is the team, Jay, that I think this is only the second time that Neymar's been available to play soccer on his sister's birthday. In 8 years, only the second time. All the other time he's been injured. Messi
that's because he took his yearly sabbatical this time earlier. He was out for a long time prior to coming back for this tie.
And so when you look at PSG's team sheet, more often than not, Mbappe's always playing. Messi, Neymar out for whatever reason, whether it's an injury or COVID, because Messi's having fun with his wife and kids, whatnot, comes back with COVID. But the guy who's switched on, who's in the game all the time, is Mbappe. And that's why I don't blame the guy wanting to go to Real Madrid, because you want you even get it from Neymar saying, well, this particular World Cup might be my last one. He's still got time to play on. He's still got the time to play on. But I don't think he has the drive and the energy. And I think that's why Mbappe's going, you know what, if I want to win something, because I've been at this team for long enough, and there is no Champions League in this particular team with these particular stars, I need to move. So in terms of this particular job, I think it says something about putting the Galacticos together if they're not a team. People will blame Poch, but I don't think it's Poch's fault.
He's part of the reason. He's a bottler coach, and this is a bottler team. You put the two together, and the inevitable will take place.